Links join channel here over at SubScribe. The thing is, talking about Hollywood and their narrative is obviously way more interesting than sitting down. If I had to sit down and watch a whole Star Wars series, that would be painful. Or Rings of Power would be even worse. But it's interesting to watch because, or to kind of keep tabs on, because they're telling you what they want the narrative to be, and they're willing to spend billions of dollars, and even more importantly, they're willing to lose billions of dollars to push this narrative that people are just not interested in. It's Hollywood is really a unique thing because it's not Hollywood like you maybe used to think of it if you're not paying attention to Hollywood. It's just a propaganda branch arm of this left wing, and they've kind of taken the mask off over the past 15 years. So Acolytes is a space lesbian show, and I asked people on post if they thought that Hollywood was ever going to turn things around and go after some of the money that's out there, and the response was just laughter. But I keep holding hope that a small studio will come out of the shadows and make something good. So she blames you, Harvey Weinstein's secretary's wife, who she put in a show, which you can see her on screen, is nothing to write home about. And attract people attract people. There's something to be said for why Princess Leia made such an impact on people. Even 50 years after the fact, people still remember her jogging scenes because they were trying to strap those puppies down. It was just about impossible. Anyway, Acolyte, which I struggle to remember, was about a bunch of breastless women running around fighting the patriarchy and trying to be men, which is weird because men were the audience for Star Wars and they don't want to see 40-year-old chubby lesbians at all. And as it turns out, women aren't interested either. And the left wing that always says they'd love this kind of stuff on paper, they never actually turn out for this kind of stuff. And this woman is frustrated because it got like 3 billion, I don't know, views or watch minutes or something. And it was the second most watched show on Star Wars streaming, as if that's a good thing. You go, well, okay, yeah, Disney Star Wars, that's a huge name. That is kind of odd. Why would you cancel a show that was number two? And you realize, no, you're looking at it backwards. Disney's not doing well. It's the number two show, but 3 billion watch minutes is not even in the top 10. And in fact, Disney is not even in the top 10. This is an L for Disney. I don't know if this actor knew what was going on behind the scenes. I mean, they say this just the stupidest stuff, and they never stop to think about any of this kind of stuff. Okay, so openly gay characters won't sell because people are not fungible. Where you've got that situation with Elliot Page, who is I think is going to be in some new Odyssey movie or Odysseus or whatever kind of movie, and there's like some Indian guy in there too, and it just looks like a potpourri of woke characters. It's like the Rings of Power with characters that don't belong in Middle Earth because they're not English or British of any variety. You can't just swap out actors for characters. That doesn't make sense. The suspension of disbelief only goes so far, and the pieces that fit, they don't fit when you try to force in gay, diverse, or feminist characters because it's not organic. And admittedly, there is some organic stuff like that, but the rare times it is organic, normal people are just not interested in that story because it's so far out of our worldview, out of our understanding. Most people are not most people are just straight whatever type of family focused. So a story with like two moms in the background is completely alien to us. It's just vaguely kind of disturbing to us, and we know Hollywood wants to normalize it, and I don't think it's working. So the other thing to keep in mind is the name recognition of Disney still is huge, and it was much bigger. And then up about 15 years ago, 2025, 2010, 15 years ago, kind of the start of, I guess, 2015, the Star Wars, when Disney came out with Star Wars, whatever that was called, started. People recognized that this was a new Disney from the Pirates of the Caribbean, which is a fantastic bunch of movies, a lot of fun. Star Wars had a good reputation, which it does not have anymore. And Ron DeSantis in Florida and that kind of stuff had something to do with it. But more importantly, like, people can just look at the movies and then look at the old movies and go, "This is I don't recognize this. This isn't what Disney's supposed to be. It's supposed to be family friendly." They go, "Oh, well, we're family friendly to all kinds of different families." And that just doesn't make sense to us because we don't value, like, family to us is the atomic family. That makes sense to us. The blood connected family, the tribe kind of stuff, which sounds so old fashioned, but it's like millions of years old, blood relations, and you're trying to turn this upside down and, like, suddenly calling anyone who disagrees with you some kind of far right Hugo Boss for wanting stories that have been organically told for as long as you could put pen to paper or papyrus or cuneiform or whatever. And the thing is, the name Star Wars, the name recognition is also huge. And it's like 3 movies started in 77, but they were monster successful films. So when you combine Star Wars and Disney, the power of those names, I don't think there's any more name recognition. Maybe Google or something. People are thinking when they hear that of Han Solo and Luke Skywalker types of characters running around with, Megalopolis Leia and their pet dog, and obviously it's not going to be those exact large-fruited characters, but people are thinking about leading males from like 20 to 40-ish and some pretty women as the sidekicks. Though, I mean, Princess Leia did have her own, she was her own woman in the story. She was very forceful, but then she also fell in love and kind of turned back into a girly girl. So that simple formula, which is what everyone wants to see. That people just want to see classic organic stories. People are really done with woke, and I don't think Hollywood has caught up with that yet. So that simple formula is your starting point, because men are interesting and women are not supposed to be the primary characters. They're the sex objects, and that's a good thing. They're the motivation for a lot of behavior. Basically, I'm right about this, and Disney is wrong, even though they are a $150 billion company. But the proof is simply in comparing old to new Disney and the success relatively. Disney is creating characters that people have no interest in because they don't fit the stories. There was a scene in one of this Disney Star Wars streaming shows where a woman is on the space shuttle or something, and she's dressing for battle, and she's talking to her child, which takes you right out of the Winley suspension of disbelief, because we see this and we all feel how wrong it is. As a viewer asks, why is a woman leaving her child to put herself in harm's way? That's not what we want to see, because it's wrong. The men are supposed to be doing those things. So we instantly know that we're seeing propaganda, because that's what it is. Women don't do the things that are shown in Disney movies, and to the extent that they might do these things, people think it's stupid. The only reason Star Wars got any viewers is because of the name recognition and the sets and special effects and that kind of little member-berry nostalgia type of stuff. Women are sex objects. There needs to be a patriarchy for civilization to function, because we see what's going on right now. Everything Disney is doing is against our values, and we are correct, and they are globalist parasites, but it's a moot point. What the audience will pay for is the stone cold bottom line, as it is with everything. We'll pay for Han and Luke Skywalker and some TNA characters with droids in the background. Disney has different values, is like saying crocodiles have different values. And the thing is, they don't really believe the things they're pushing. That's why it doesn't feel organic. It's propaganda because their bizarre communist beliefs don't work anywhere. If you have the vagina people go fight wars and the soy men stay home, then when the women die, there's no next generation, because I should say uterus women, because that's the critical component, is that they carry the next generation. It's like a child would look at that and go, this doesn't make sense, and they go, just forget that part of it. So that simple explanation destroys the show. Women are supposed to be mothers, not soldiers. It would be suicide for your race if you sent women to war. Men are expendable just because of the biological nature of a bull can cover many cows, one right after another if you have to repopulate the group. And the cows, the women are right, maybe I should have figured out a better way to say that, are they're tied up with the kid for not just 9 months, but also for years of breastfeeding and all that kind of stuff. It's like this, just like everyone knows this. This is bizarre that Hollywood, these effing lizard people don't know. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it's different, like R&K strategy with these lizard people in Hollywood. So here you have Harvey Weinstein, assistant here, Leslie Headland, and her wife, who was in the show, they're exactly the wrong people to be in the show or working on Star Wars at all, because Star Wars needs straight masculine energy, or at the very least, you need hardcore Star Wars fans, which should be obvious to say. But again, it's like this, they look at you like, what, no, that's not, we have a checklist. And like, they literally have a checklist, they talk about it, their DEI type of stuff. So part of the motivation problem in Star Wars is the society that these freaks envision, because what they're fighting for is what we would fight to avoid. And yes, I know I might sound a little harsh in saying that we don't value gay, feminism, diversity, but we might as well be honest, because we're mostly on the side of families, usually Christian, or at least kind of Christian positive, if you know what I mean. Like, some people are not really religious, but they see the value in a church for social organization and for like getting people together and stuff. Or even if you're pagan, you're still family focused. And the feminism, gay, diversity, those are all Marxist tools from the Frankfurt School. That's just used to destroy the family, which is the goal, because you destroy that and then you start destroying the nation, as you can look around at the West right now. So everything these parasites at Disney value is poison, and it's to the point where they can't hide it. That's why people call them lizard people, because their worldview is so alien and reptilianly evil that they can't possibly be human. And all this is a little bit tinfoil hat, but imagine in the 80s, if you showed them what the breastless lesbian future of Star Wars was. They would think you were crazy if 1985, you flash forward 40 years and go, yeah, this is, we're going to have, like, you'll have these little computer screens that you hold in your hand and you can watch Star Wars at home, and this is what they'll be like. This isn't Star Wars. This doesn't look anything like the original trilogy. So old Star Wars is still watchable, because I mean, every so often I'll go back and watch a little bit of it just to kind of get that vibe. It's tribe and family, the light versus the dark, the hero's journey. The new stuff is just annoying. And yes, as I mentioned, breasts are important, because big or small, we're reminded of the cycle of life. The mammals, mammary glands, the Milky Way, the galaxy, the galactose that feeds the baby. Somebody did a video on like all the way that like breasts have been so important in totems, sculptures for like fertility goddesses, I guess. Throughout history, that concept of the fat, full-breasted, gravid woman means you've had good harvests and the tribe is healthy, type of thing. The thing is, a young straight woman fits the movie like a puzzle piece that's designed to fit in there, where a 40-year-old androgynous lesbian just doesn't, because you'd have to ask, well, what's the motivation for the characters? What are they fighting for? The lesbian is not part of their tribe because she's not going to have kids. That's even where the word for, I won't say it, but the bundles of sticks word came for, because it's a burden that you carry. And metaphorically, it's a burden to the tribe who won't do their part and get married and raise kids. The subconscious motivation for the characters in Disney movies doesn't make any sense. They're the diverse socialists fighting for a Google world against the evil banking guild. That's not what motivates people. People fight for blood and soil, which shows you the power of propaganda, that the globalists try to make that phrase some far right-wing concept. Except you go, oh, the Germans in World War II had that concept. Yes, so did the Japanese, Italians, Russians, English, Americans, everyone. It's the French. It's just it's like, what else would you be fighting? No. We're MasterCard country, and we're gonna fight Chase Morgan Bank conglomerate. So I mean, we're just fungible, replaceable cogs. None of that makes sense. I mean, it's just like, you're just like Ukraine, where you're fighting to, the country is essentially a meat grinder, where it's Soylent Greening its own people, its own men and replacing them later with, people, the faraway people, if you saw that Twitter video. So, like, you got to realize, like, well, what's the point of fighting if you're just, like, what are you fighting for? Like, what do you gain if you win? It's like, if you're better off if you lose, because at least you'd still be your people. And at least in the beginning of that war, the Redditors went over there, which was so wonderful to watch. They got wiped out by drones when they started filming TikTok videos, and the Russians could identify them, which was, what's that buzzing I hear? Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all next episode.